Hello, I'll be giving you a demo of our project. It is an open source backend in Rust, and it allows developers or admins to self-host and easily deploy simple backends for their apps. Uh, the project has three main components: the server, the UI, and the SDK. The server is responsible for implementing the API that is used to interact with the database. The database is an embeddable NoSQL database, and the UI is basically the view into the database, and it allows us to interact with the database through the API. The SDK exists to help developers to programmatically uh, interact with the database through the API. And first, I'll show you the front end for our project. The server is already running. I've started it. Currently, there's no collections or documents. So the prototype for our project was to basically implement CRUD operations. So I'll add a collection here, for example. Let's say I'll call it test. I'll create it, and here's the test collection. It has no documents right now. I'll insert a document. A document is, since it's a NoSQL embedded database, a document can be very flexible in its structure. It it has a field, a type, and a value, and there can be many instances of these. For example, I add a document with a one field called age, and let's say it's a number, and let's say its value is 22. I'll create this. I'll reload the page since it's a prototype. So we have the document over here. It's been inserted into the database, and I can see it in the UI. I can delete the document. It's gone. I can delete the collection as well from over here, and the collection's been deleted. So this is basically CRUD through the UI for someone like an admin who wants to see what collections they have in their app, or what documents they have in their app, and this will be expanded to include authentication, file storage, and stuff like that. And now I'll show you the SDK. Basically, to show the SDK, we've made a simple task manager app that is built using the SDK. So basically, I'll show you the code for this. So it's a simple React app that uses the SDK that we've made, that is deployed on the npm registry. This is the ezbase library that we've uploaded to npm, and this can be used with any app to serve as a simple backend for your app. And we've made a simple React app using this SDK. So here you can see that we've imported ezbase from the library. We've started a connection, and we're creating and deleting connections and inserting documents using the SDK. The SDK code is over here, and currently, since this is the prototype, we've implemented CRUD for the SDK. And I'll show you how this works. Let's say I've added a task called prototype. I'll come over here, and you can see that the task collection has been made, and there's a document called prototype, and it's not completed yet. I'll delete this, and it should be gone from here. Yep, you see there's no documents, and we'll reload this, and no documents. So basically, through the SDK, the developer can interact with a database very simply without having to do complex stuff like setting up a SQL server. There's no such tasks involved. They just download the library and start the server. Later, this can be compiled into one singular executable file that starts the server, starts the front end, and the app development can act as an admin, interact with the database, and use the SDK as a gateway to the database. That's it for the demo.